Okay, hi again, everyone. It's Emma here at Function Point, and I've got Daniel, who's going to be our presenter today on the line as well.
Hel-
What we're going to be doing today is going through the portal. So hopefully everyone can see my screen. I'm just sharing a couple of slides here just to introduce what our topic is today. So it is going to be all about the portal, which is great news. I know Daniel's pretty familiar with that section of the system, and your presenters today are myself and Daniel. Really glad you could join in today, by the way. Here's a little bit about what we're going to be going through. So we are going to be going through how to utilize the portal to enable your clients to request work and approve work. You can share links with them, documents, creative briefs, and that can all be done 24 hours a day, and show you how to turn that request that the client makes through the portal into an estimate and how to share that over for their approval. I think we're also going to probably be going through how to set those clients up as portal users. I know Daniel has a good agenda in mind. So what I'm going to do now, if you're ready, Daniel, I'm going to make you the presenter. Daniel, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. You were cutting out on me a bit there. I could tell you were trying to say something, but I wasn't getting you. So let me just make you the presenter. And then when you're, let's see if that didn't work. It always makes me do that twice. There we go. I'm going to make you the presenter, and then when you're ready, if you could share your screen with us. Everyone, please be encouraged to ask questions as we go. I will be answering them as we go through things. If I don't answer you right away, it's not because I am ignoring you. I am just typing furiously, and what comes through, we may get Daniel to answer live for us as well. So, Daniel, I'm ready whenever you are.
Thanks for that, Emma. Well, like Emma said, welcome everyone. So today's session is going to be all about the portal, and we're going to be looking at setting up the portal, client access, implementing your own branding, and a few other bits and pieces when it comes to the workflow side of things. So you should be able to see my screen, which is a lovely Stargate portal. So if anyone can join me and hold hands, we'll jump through. Okay, and there we go. We are now in function point. So, first things first, what I thought would be a good step is to have a look at setting up your clients with client portal access. Now, as you may know, all of your companies or clients would live under the companies module. So let's go ahead and choose one here under our recently viewed companies. Let's go ahead and choose Giorgio Armani. Okay, so we're on the company details page, and we can see under the contacts tab, we've got three contacts here that we're dealing with on the client side. So if we wanted to go ahead and set up one of these, all we simply do is just select that particular contact. That will take us to the contact details page. And notice how we've actually got a client portal tab. So for Nicole, we can go ahead and set her up here for client portal access. So this is a very easy step. Now, what you need to make sure is that the enable login box has been checked and that we've given Nicole a username and a password. Okay, so it's also possible to force reset the password once they log in for the first time. Users will be prompted to choose a brand new password. Now, a couple of things to take note of here is that we also have permission sets. Now, just like Function Point, the client portal is permission based. So you can pretty much decide what each of your contacts or clients can and cannot do and can and cannot see in the client portal. So if you want, depending upon the way your system has been set up, you might have a couple of permission sets already there to choose from. Alternatively, you can drill through these available options just below that allow you to select what each portal user can do and cannot do in the client portal. So let's just take a look at a couple of these example options here. So view essentially will then allow us to block out a couple of core modules from the client portal. Let's have a look at another example here as well. So the ability to approve estimates or add requests, all we would need to do is untick these boxes and then these items will be disabled. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of these options here. So notes, Now, as you may or may not know, the Client Portal is an excellent collaboration tool. So, whether you're an internal agency or a traditional full-service creative agency, it does allow you to communicate with your clients. You can comment on various items, different files that you may have mutually uploaded and shared. Okay, so let's just take a look at a couple of other options here. Now, under admin, we can also choose to show rates or show actuals as well. So we can turn these off if we wish to, I guess, limit some financial information there on some of the reports. So excellent. Okay.
Hey, Daniel. Daniel, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can now. Sorry.
Yeah, I can hear loud and clear.
Excellent.
Excellent.
We're in the same room. You wouldn't know it, people. I just wanted to chime in, if you wouldn't mind. We haven't had any questions yet, which is totally fine, but everyone do be encouraged to type them in. There really are no silly questions, so feel free. But something I like these portal permissions. Hopefully, people will enjoy them as well. What I like to usually tell people when I'm showing them these sections is, even if you give everyone most of what's here, they're never going to be able to see your really, really sensitive information. They're never going to have access like you have in your own system. The one I see probably in my experience people deselect is just that last one you showed, Daniel, just with the actuals and those and that little bit. That's the one I most often see people say, hey, you know what? I don't want my portal users seeing that. Otherwise, there's nothing too dodgy they're going to get access to. But that's just me chiming in with just hope it's okay.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. Thanks for that, Emma. Okay, excellent. So that's how you set up your clients with the Client Portal. As you saw, it's very, very easy. Now, once you've set them up, all you simply do is just click on Submit, and those settings have now been saved. Okay. Now, in terms of the portal branding, let's take a look at that. So, what you can do is you can actually customize the background image of the portal. So let's have a look here. We can go to the admin section and let's go to system preferences and take a look at this. So if we click on branding, we've got a whole section here in the client portal. So if you wanted to share your own company banner and have it appear on the top of the portal when your clients log in, this is where you would have that ticked. And you also have the option of choosing a flat color for the portal background. Now, in addition to that, if you have a link to an image, this is where you can go ahead and put one of those links. Okay. So very easy to set up. You can also see we've got some instructions here on the right hand side which give you specific information on the ideal image sizes and things to take into account when you're setting up your portal branding. But having said that, let's go ahead and log into the client portal. I'm going to move in a different browser window. So in this case, we've got Safari, and this is the login screen for the client portal. And of course, you can have the URL point back to your own website as well. So let's go ahead and log in as Linda. So Linda from Giorgio Armani, and see what that looks like. Oops. Okay, let's have a look again. Wrong password, and I think we should be good now. Excellent. Okay. So while we're getting into the portal, it's worthwhile noting as well that with the client portal, some of the core uses where a lot of your clients will find quite useful would be, first of all, the ability to create requests for work. So that's something that we'll also take a look at today as well. So clients can actually go ahead and submit a brand new request, which is essentially a brief that they would be selecting. So a brief template, which is for a specific job type. And of course, we will take a look at that. Now, my browser is playing up here a little bit, so my apologies there, everyone. Let me just refresh this and see what happens here. Okay. Now, sometimes if you have multiple instances of login screens opened up running in separate windows and tabs, it can be a bit tricky, but there we go. That's much better this time around. So a couple of things to notice here is, first of all, we've got that background image. So that link that I showed you earlier on in the admin section in Function Point, that's basically that image there. Okay, so you can see we've got some nice clouds. And of course, because we've chosen to share our company banner, that's also coming through here on the top. So of course, depending upon what banner you have, yours will show differently here as well. Now, the first thing that clients get taken to once they log into the client portal by default is this Active Work module, or you might even call it a tab if you will. Now, Active Work will then show clients all the jobs that you might be currently working on. Okay, so this is a demo system, so it's a demo portal. Now we can see we've got a number of different jobs. You might not have jobs with the job type of preliminary, you might just have open jobs, for example. Okay, so again, there are a couple of different ways that you can set this up here. Now, this is a really useful tab because clients can then just choose any of these jobs to see what the job status is of that specific job. So let's take a look at this last one here. So we've got the New York Fashion Week promo video. Okay, so once clients click on that link, that will then take them to the job details of that one specific job. So in this case, we're looking at the New York Fashion Week promo video. We can see a description there as well, so what this particular job is. Now, in Function Point, in addition to being able to upload files, so any sort of digital asset you might have, whether it's a PDF or an image, you can also share links. So these links could potentially be links to larger files that you might have sitting on your server, maybe your Dropbox or Google Drive. So this is where these links will actually then show up and be accessible to your clients. Okay, now further below we've got our notes section. So this is where the collaboration happens. And what you'll see is we have a series of notes here, and these notes all relate to this one specific job. We can see who the author is of each note. If it is the client, we will also see that as well. And in these examples, we can also see that there are a number of files that have been mutually shared between the agency and the client. Okay, we can also see if there are some comments as well. Okay, so this is a really good space to come and see, I guess, a nice thread of bits and pieces pertaining to this one single job. Now, for clients to upload files or add notes, so they simply just click on Add, and they can choose, of course, a note title. Okay, and we've also recently introduced rich text formatting in our text windows, so clients can then highlight things or bold things, maybe include bullet points as well. So these are pretty neat different items there, as well as links which they can opt to share with you. So let's take a look here. Let's just say, can you please update me? Say, hi Daniel, how is change X on item B coming along? Thanks. Oops. Okay, so let's go ahead and submit this. All right, so this is the latest note, and what you'll notice is that notes, as they get posted in the client portal, they do go in chronological order, so your most recent note will be sitting on the top here as well. So this makes things quite easy for visibility purposes. So what will then happen is on our side, and I'm just going to Alt tab here to Chrome, and because we are logged into Function Point on the agency side, just expand it a little bit here. if I have been set up with the correct alerts, I might even receive an alert here that there is a brand new note, and in this case there is. So we can see that there is a note here, can you please update me? So in addition to being able to receive an alert at the system level in the function point, we can also receive an email notification. So essentially you can really never miss a new note or a comment that's been shared. So let's just go ahead and click on this note or this alert here. And notice how that's taken us to the note details page here in function point. So this is them showing us the breadcrumb trail. We can see the title of the note. So can you please update me? We can see which job it automatically relates to. So that's the New York Fashion Week promo video. And of course, this breadcrumb trail leads back to the company details page. Now, Linda here, who is the author of this note, hasn't shared any files with us. So we can see that under the Files tab, okay, this is sitting empty. Of course, if she had shared a file, that would appear then right there. But since we have received a note, we now have the option to go ahead and comment on this. So let's go ahead and comment. Okay, so this item has been taken care of. We'll send you a sample shortly. How's that? I think that's probably sufficient enough. Let's go ahead and submit that. Excellent. So we can see the comment is right there. Now going back to the client portal, which we have running in our separate browser here, what we can do is we can also simply refresh this. Okay, and if we've set up the client here with the correct alerts, in this case, when it comes to the notes we have, the client will then receive a little alert notifying that there is a brand new comment added, which is essentially a response to their note. But further below, we can also see the comment right here. So it's appeared, and there we go. Surely enough, there's my comment. So the item has been taken care of. We'll send you a sample shortly. So as you can see, it's a really neat space to come to and collaborate, especially if you have job-specific items that you want to share and collaborate on. Okay. And of course, if clients want to access any of these files, what they do is they just simply click on that relevant file, and that will open up in a separate tab, and they can download that to the desktops. Now, the job details page is also useful when it comes to being able to generate client-facing reports. So just further below, clients can generate reports which are specific to each job. Now, depending upon the permission level that each contact that's using the client portal has been given, they may not be able to access all of these reports, if any. So what we can do is take a look at a couple of these samples. So this job summary report, let's go ahead and see this one here. They can also choose a date range, or they can opt to leave these blank. So this is a pretty neat report. Now these are generated as PDF documents. Okay. Thank you, Safari, for letting me trust the Adobe document. And there we go. This is the summary report for the New York Fashion Week promo video. Now we can see the job number here. We can see the details about this job. And just below, this is a very high-level breakdown of the different service groups, the items that are within these service groups are internal services, as well as some external expenses. So we can see an estimated hour column, as well as estimated dollars, actual hours based on people's timesheets, actual dollars, invoiced amounts, and then any variances here as well. Now, if this is a type of report that you may not want to share with about more than half of your clients, for example, of course it is a case-by-case scenario. Again, it is something that is quite flexible because you define the permissions of each contact that you may have on the client side. So just to recap, you might have, say, 5 contacts that you deal with one client, for example. Now, each of those contacts might have different levels of access with the client portal. Okay, so of course, this can now be saved as a PDF report to the desktop and reviewed by the client at any time. Let's have a look at another example here. So this is a job status report. So this will then give them more details, and of course, again, they can choose date ranges. Okay. So this is giving us much more detail. We can see a breakdown of the different services and the dates. We can also see staff initials here on the left-hand side, showing us the different services that the staff have actually been working on. We can see descriptions as well, rates that we've charged, number of hours, and the actuals. Okay. And further below, we can also see some external expenses there. So we've indicated some materials, some printing, and a few other items. Now, as Emma said earlier on, when we began this webinar, feel free to ask us any questions as I'm going through this presentation, and we'll address those as well. Emma, do you have anything to share at this time, or anything that you'd like to add to what I've shown on this job details page?
Yeah, that would be great, Daniel. Thanks for checking in. Would you be able to show us again? I was just typing the answer in, where you nab the portal URL, please?
Okay, so the portal URL.
Yeah, if you just go back to your function point system. I admit I was answering questions, so I wasn't looking when you showed it, but I believe you can find it just back in admin under system preferences and the login tab. Yeah, and on that login tab, that custom link for your company around the middle, no, back on the login tab, please. Thank you. That
Okay.
custom link for your company, that is what you can give your staff users as well as your portal users as the custom URL for them to access the portal. So hopefully that answers Shane's question. We've also had a couple of comments. One I think you covered since Christine asked, it was just about your staff members, or sorry, your portal users getting alerts. And as Daniel touched on, you certainly can have your portal users set up just like your staff users to either get email alerts or in-system alerts, and they can be set up for a variety of things. Once you've set up a staff, or sorry, I keep saying staff. Once you set up a client user as a portal user, they will have both that portal tab that Daniel was pointing out earlier, as well as a subscriptions tab. And on that subscriptions tab is where you can set up. It's just yeah, there you go, perfect, where you can set up all kinds of alerts for your portal users as well. Now, I always advocate with alerts, less is more. Everyone's probably heard me say that a few times, just because I've seen both staff users and portal users go, oh gosh, I signed up for and wanted all these alerts until I'm suddenly getting them all and, feeling kind of overwhelmed. So my experience, it's been that if people are regularly logging into their function point system or their portal system, probably don't need to inundate them with alerts, but they are nice to get, just to let you know when things like Christina said, you get a note or something changes. But I think that's it for now. Daniel, you're welcome to keep checking in though, and I will keep you posted of feedback we're getting.
Thanks for that, Emma. Okay, so what we're going to do is go back to our client portal page. So we're using Safari for this one. And again, just to recap, we looked at the active work module or tab, which we then selected a specific job, and that was the New York Fashion Week promo video job. So then this is what the job details page looks like again. Now, if the client, for example, wanted to go ahead and have a look at any of the other jobs that we might be working on, all they need to simply do is click on one of the jobs, and again, it'll be the same type of view. And in these examples, please forgive me, these are pretty much bare bones. We don't have many details in these, but again, it just gives you a good indication of all of your jobs in one place, easily accessible for your clients, so they can review those. Excellent. Now, I think the next thing that we can look at is perhaps putting through a request for work. So to do that, clients will then go onto this Requests tab. Okay, so they will then be prompted to choose the name of this job or request. So notice how we're now on the Create a Request page. Okay, so let's just call this one example, let's say brochure. Okay, so not really that imaginative, guys, so my apologies there. But what we can then do is choose the job type. So essentially, creating a request for work in the client portal allows your clients, or gives your clients rather, access to a selection of brief templates. So these brief templates are something that you would have set up in Function Point under the Briefs module, and essentially your briefs are going to be your stylized questionnaires catering for various different job types. Okay, so just having a look here, what we can do is pull up all these different brief types that we have just by clicking on this little magnifying tool under job type, and we've got a few example brief templates here to choose from. So let's go and choose brochure. Okay, so a couple of things to take note of. Anything in the client portal that has a little red asterisk next to it is mandatory, so you do need to ensure that is filled out before, well, your clients need to ensure that that is filled up before they can move on to the next step. They can go ahead and put in maybe a brief description in this field, or if they like, they can make it as detailed as they like as well. So we do have these dynamically resizable boxes, which are great. And clients can also choose which staff member they wish to send this actual request for work to. So in this case, because I wish to receive it, I'm going to go ahead and choose myself. So Daniel, and just another thing to take note of, we can see that we are logged in here as Linda. So Linda is our good friend at Giorgio Armani. And just above here, we can also choose a budget. So again, that's something that's optional if clients wish to indicate a budget in their briefs or requests for work. Delivery date, okay, so they can choose a due date maybe. Why don't we go ahead and do that for this exercise? So let's say the 28th of March, and they have a budget of $17,000. Okay, excellent. So let's proceed to the next step. Oh, there we go. So it doesn't actually allow us to use some of these characters. So let's try this. No. Excellent. So it's just basically a number that you put in here, and the system will automatically recognize that for you. So that's something new that we learn every day. So the next step is when clients are creating a brand new request for work, they start filling out the questions. So these questions that you see are essentially from this brief template, which is a brochure brief template. And one thing to take note of, when you're structuring these briefs in Function Point, you can style them any way. So you might have multiple text boxes such as these for your questions. You might choose that some of the questions are mandatory with a little asterisk. You can incorporate things like these radio bullets, all these checkboxes as well. So it is quite flexible in terms of how you can stylize your questions, and you can make this as lengthy and as detailed as you like, or as simple as you like as well. So for the purpose of this exercise, let's just put in a couple of details. Okay, next step, on to step number 3. So these are some additional questions. Okay, this is a mandatory field again. Alrighty, and in addition to these styles of questions, you can also have some drop-down options. So these are pretty neat. Now, your briefs can also incorporate files. So if your clients have some reference material that they wish to share to support the briefs or the request for work, that is something that they can also upload as well. So they can just choose a file and see how that works. Okay, excellent. So let's go ahead and submit this. Maybe just a few more details in this last one. So the last step before the request is actually submitted is this fourth page. That's a summary page, which gives them the option to review all of the questions and answers. And if they do need to make some adjustments, they can always save this and go back to the previous step as well. So I think this is looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and submit this. Okay, thanks for that, Linda. So she has now submitted this. And what we're going to do is go back to function point. And just quickly before we do, I'm not sure if you all saw this, but there was a little notification here that popped up just moments ago notifying the client that this request for work has been successfully submitted. So back at the agency, we will then receive an alert right up here on the top, as well as potentially an email notification. So as Emma mentioned earlier on, your alert subscriptions and email alert or email notifications can be set up to tie in with one another, and they can be set up in a very granular way. So pretty much anything you do in the system can trigger an alert as well as an email notification, which is really handy because it just means that you're never really going to be missing a beat. So let's go ahead and refresh this because we should have a brand new brief that has been submitted, and sure enough, there it is. So there is a brand new request for work. Now, once we click on this link, what will then happen is it will take us to the brief details page of this brand new job request. So we can then go ahead and review these items. Okay, let's take a look. Excellent. So this is a pretty straightforward job request, and we can also see that there is a file attached there for us, so we can go ahead and open that and see what that supporting material is. Wow. Okay. I think Linda wants to go places. So let's go ahead and close that sample image. I think that's good to go. From here, what we can then do to start implementing this into our workflow and actioning this this request to work, we can do a couple of things. We can add an estimate to this brief, or we can add a project. Okay, so once we've done that, we can then subsequently add a job and attach a schedule and start allocating tasks, which is another webinar in its own right. But that's essentially how you receive requests for work and basically convert them into a project or an estimate from this point onwards. Now, before I go into any other items, do we have any more questions there, Emma?
We've had a couple. One that something I just wanted to point out. You had talked about the file upload space, and just wanted to remind everyone that there is a limit. It's not a very high, a low limit, I should say, of 50 megabytes per file. So when you do put one of those file type answer fields into your brief, and your client is filling that in and uploading a file, the only limit is up to 50 megabytes. So quite a lot of space for them to add whatever they need to. Otherwise, we've been fairly quiet. Appreciate the questions that have been coming in, and just feel free to keep them coming. I will actually refer to a question Val had asked just about the ability to customize. So absolutely the pages. Daniel, could I just get you to go to create a new request just again, just in the portal side?
Yep, certainly. Let's go ahead and do that.
So when Daniel's on this page, unfortunately at this time, this page can't be customized. So what you see here will be true for anyone using the portal. They will see this. Of course, they'll be able to choose whatever job type they want from amongst the briefs that you create. So the briefs are completely customizable. You can make as many of them as you like with all kinds of question and answer fields in them. This particular first page for right now, these questions are all this is a required page at this time, but the subsequent pages are absolutely as many or as few questions as you like. all different answer types and questions you can fill in. Some good news for anyone who's getting into this right now or super getting excited about using it. When you're using briefs back in the function point system, I find it pretty straightforward and I think it makes sense. And again, it's something we have documents on. But I can tell everyone that the briefs page, the brief builder back in the admin section, has actually had a makeover and it looks really good. I'm so excited about the changes that we'll be seeing in probably the next few weeks to that build a brief section, which you can just find under features there. So this area totally works now. It will be fine. If you get stuck, of course, let us know. And we've got, again, documents to take you through that, as well as some videos to take you through how to build these out. But I just wanted to give a little shout out to how excited I am about the changes that are going to be coming there and really make it even much more straightforward.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Emma. And what we can now do, since we have received this request for work from Giorgio, actually, why don't we just go ahead and submit that fresh one since we started? Okay, so what we had done, just to recap, is we created a brand new request. I'll go back one page. Let's do a fresh new request again from scratch. There we go. So again, let's call this one advanced website. So job type, again, that will give them the option to choose the brief that you've set up in function point. In this case, let's choose website brief, actually the second one there. Some details again, and I think that was a $25,000 budget. And let's choose a delivery date for this one. So let's say the 17th of April. That looks good. And yeah, these are some other examples of the types of questions and the question styles that you can structure in function point when you're setting up these briefs. So again, these are really handy, and I think having these types of options definitely eliminates the need for a lot of data entry on your client side as well, which is pretty neat. So let's put in some details there. Okay. Oh, I think it was April 17th. There we go. And a few more questions. And again, let's go ahead and choose a file. Okay, that looks good. So again, the last step is really the summary page where clients can review their request before they go ahead and submit it. So as soon as we submit this, please take note of this little confirmation that we will get just up here on the right. There we go. So that's been successfully submitted. And again, depending upon the way your users internally within your agency have been set up with their alerts and email notifications, they will then get the appropriate alert that there is a brand new brief that's been submitted. And let's refresh that. So these alerts do come through automatically, but I have pushed that through just a bit quicker. Okay, I think Linda here at Giorgio Armani is getting a little bit trigger happy with her briefs, but that's okay. We will not complain for the extra work requests. Excellent. Okay, so that's great. We've got 51 alerts, and just here we can see on the brief details page we've got the questions as well as the answers and supporting files that Linda has chosen to share with us. Okay, so why don't we just go ahead and create an estimate based on these brief requests. So let's go ahead and do that. So I've clicked on Add Estimate. It's taken us to our Estimate Add Edit screen. The great thing here is that it's automatically named our Estimate Advanced website, which is the initial name for the job request that Linda has put through. We can see automatically that the estimate type is the website. So that's what has been chosen. Company, of course, Giorgio Armani. We can see who the estimate contact is. If we wanted to send this estimate or proposal over to a different contact at Giorgio Armani, we can do that as well, simply just by choosing the appropriate person from this screen here. So let's go ahead and just keep that with Linda. Okay, details are there as well. So these details would have carried over from the initial job request that Linda has put through, and of course the delivery date that's also carried over here as well. So for the purpose of this exercise, I'm sure each and every one of you will have your own service group set up in a way that makes more sense to yourself. So this could all be looking rather different on your end. But the idea here is we've got this example service group web design. So let's go ahead and choose some relevant items that will define the scope of work for this particular job. So maybe some wireframing, some web design, coding. Why not even a little bit of research there? I think that's looking good. And do we have any expenses there? I think there might be some photography involved. Excellent. So we've mixed it up a little bit. And let's go ahead and submit this. Okay. So we are now on the estimate details page. And we can see we've got our estimate number which has been automatically generated, and of course that all leads back to our company or our client details page. We've got the items that we've chosen below which make up our scope of work, and we can tweak these, we can rearrange these as well. So we can have things like our expenses on the bottom, for example. Oop. My magic mouse, depending upon the mouse that you have, might not act that way, but there we go. So we've got our creative services, our web design, and I think that's probably the most logical flow. Let's expand these and just make sure that we've got all the items that we want. Now, of course, when you're setting up your internal services, as well as these individual service line items like research, for example, or like web design, what you will notice is that you'll have your own definitions, which you would have set up on the back end, which will pop in or drop in just like these. Now, if need be, before sending this off to the client for approval, you can, of course, rename these, so maybe to professional fees. So you can do things like that. Maybe add some additional detail as well. So further explanations, what these items will actually entail. But here, let's go ahead and maybe put in some hours. Again, it's not mandatory, but you can if you are wanting to budget time for each of these. Okay, so let's go ahead and say 8 hours of research. And of course, if you're working with different rates and different rate categories, you can adjust these on the fly. And one thing to take note of, again, if you've got the right permission or permission set, I guess you will then have access to these fields. If not, these fields will be grayed out and you won't be able to see the rates, let alone change the rates and override them as well. So let's just override that to $900, for example. Now, as I drill through these items, do we have any questions there, Emma?
Hey Daniel, yeah, we've had a request from Suzanne just wondering if there might be time. I know we're already at quarter 2, so we've gone a little longer than I expected. So sorry, everyone. Hopefully everyone can stick with us for a little bit more time here. If there might be time to show a bit of the back and forth when people are collaborating on or commenting on a proof or a document, anything like that, maybe there'd be time to get into that.
Yep, absolutely. So I can definitely give you guys a quick example of how that would work. So what I'm going to do just quickly to submit this estimate is finishing putting in some hours here. So 17 hours of wireframing, as we want to shoot this estimate off to the client for approval. Web design, let's say 23 hours. And coding and testing will be 18 hours at 135 an hour. And photography, let's say 1250, and that looks good. Okay, 30% markup. We've got our estimate total. So what you can do from within Function Point, from the agency side, you can notify the client from the estimate details page and essentially send them this estimate for approval to the client portal just by clicking on Notify Client. So like most other components in Function Point, we are really big on templates, so you can take advantage of estimate templates as well. Notice how this text has dropped in automatically. So things to take note of here is that we are sending a link to Linda here to the client portal, so she will receive that estimate PDF, which she can then go ahead and approve. So let's go ahead and just send that off. We can then see that we get a little successful notification or message right here, and the approval status for our estimate has jumped into submitted. So from in review to submitted, and that's something that's happened automatically. Now, back on the client portal side, what will then happen is if we've set the client up with the correct alerts, Linda will then receive an email notification as well as an alert that there is a brand new estimate waiting for approval. Now, once she clicks on that link, what will then happen is it will take Linda or the client to this requests and estimates page, and then the client will be able to see that there is a brand new estimate here pending approval, and that's for our advanced website. So this is also part of the collaboration process in the sense that clients can then go ahead and approve or decline estimates and also make some comments. Okay, so what they can do here is go ahead and maybe add a note. So let's say looks good. Please turn into job. Thanks, Daniel. Okay, so let's go ahead and submit that. And of course, clients will then get a little notification here in the top right, as well as a little smiley face indicating that that particular estimate has been approved. Now, back on the agency side, we will then also receive an alert as well as an email notification. So let's just click on that. There we go. Estimate has been approved. Simply just click on that link, and then we can see that that estimate has indeed been approved under the approval status. In fact, we can even expand that a little bit further. So from an accountability standpoint, we know exactly who this estimate has been approved by, so which contact on the client side, what time did Linda approve this, and what date as well. So since we've been given the formal go-ahead to start working on this estimate as an actual formal job, all we simply do is click on Add Job, and voila, our job has been created. Excellent. So since this job has now been created, if we wish to start collaborating with the client on this, we can. We can add a note to the system, and we can attach a file. So let's go ahead and just add a note. And one thing to take note of is that we are on the job details page for this brand new job that we've just created, and of course that's our advanced website for Giorgio Armani. So let's go ahead and add a note. We are now on the note add and edit screen. We can see that we've got Giorgio Armani here selected. It's giving us the option to choose the right contact that we wish to include in this conversation or thread. In this case, we are going to go ahead and choose Linda, since she is our original contact and the person that we're dealing with for this particular job. Now, if we wanted to disable comments so Linda cannot comment anything back on our notes, we can do that here as well. But no, we don't want to do that because we want to allow Linda free reign with her notes and comments. So let's go ahead and just say hello. Okay, we have started working on this. Please see sample attached. Okay, excellent. Now, a couple of things when you're creating notes in Function Point. You can choose the note category, and of course these drop-down category items can be replaced with your own terminology. We can also opt to share this note not only with the client via the client portal, and we do that by selecting Client Visible. We can also choose to make this note visible to a couple of our colleagues, for example, and pin it to their dashboards. Okay, in this case, I'm going to choose a current status category, and you do have the option of dragging and dropping your file in this field, or we can simply just go ahead and select a file that we might have on our desktop. Okay, there we go. So our lovely Stargate, and our note has been submitted. And let's go back to the client portal. Now, I'm going to click on the active work module. There we go. And one thing that the client will also see is that there is a brand new alert here that a job has been opened. We can see what the job is. So Linda would have gotten confirmation that this job has been created. And there it is. It's right on top of the list. So chronological order here. We can go ahead and click on that job. So that's taken the client to the job details page of our newly created job. We haven't shared any links with the client, okay, but at the same time, I'm just going to confirm if I've actually saved that note. I might not have. Let's go back here and let's have a look. No. So again, my apologies there, everyone. I've actually clicked something on my magic mouse, or rather, I slid my fingers the wrong way, and that's wiped our note that we created. So let's just do a quick one here. Just type in test. Again, let's choose Linda as the contact. And in fact, this isn't a bad thing because I guess you all get to see this twice. And that way, it will stay fresh in your minds and hopefully stick with you. So client visible means that we're sending this to the client portal. We've got the appropriate job. We've got the contact. Great. Let's share this with a couple of other fellow colleagues and change the category. There we go. Let's upload a file. Okay, excellent. So that's pretty fast. And that's been submitted. Excellent, thank you. So you do get confirmation, and of course you can see the breadcrumb trail. Everything leads back to the company of the client details page. So back to the client portal. Let's refresh that. Okay, there we go. So brand new alert note has been added. Okay, so that's for that advanced website job, and there it is. We've got our note just below here, along with the file that we've shared with the client. So clients can then go ahead and basically add a note themselves. They can add a file as well, so they can respond to us with both a note and a file, and it would appear in exactly this manner that you see further below. So just to show you a bit more of an expanded example of this collaboration space, let's choose this older job that we've been working on for a while with many more items that we can see here. Okay, so once clients have commented on a note that we might share with them and vice versa, these notes will then be visible in Function Point under the company details page, so just under the notes here as well. And if there are some files that we have shared mutually on either side, that will also show up here, so we can see that there is a file. We can see which job a specific note also relates to under this job column. So again, everything is kept really well together and integrated quite well, so you can never really mismatch what a note belongs to, for example, or if a file belongs to something else. But that's essentially the client portal there, guys, and how do you collaborate. Now, do we have any questions before we wrap today's session up?
Hey, Daniel. We have had a couple that came in. One good one from Tiffany that I'll just answer if you don't mind. Tiffany had asked, well, what if? Well, I'm not quoting Tiffany directly, but Tiffany had asked about notes versus emails, and what I had answered was, notes are a great way to communicate with your clients who are using the portal, doing it all within FP. You're not bothering with your email system. You can just communicate away using notes and note comments and the discussions tab as well. So that's one great way to communicate with your portal users is just through notes. If you prefer email, I love email myself. I think we're all pretty hooked on it. There is a feature in FP, and we can actually see it on the page that Daniel's sharing right now. On every company contact and job page, you'll see in the top right a connect to email button. I've just sent Tiffany the document on this, and we do have documents on this. It's a fairly new feature to the system. It's not so much portal related, but it is communication related. So if you use that connect to email feature, you will be able to still use email as you will, but capture all that correspondence in your FP system. What it essentially is a unique email address just for either the company contact or job. And when that email address is part of either it's the CC line or the BCC line or the to line, when that email address is included, it will put the content of that email to the prospective company contact or job. I know it's a big topic to bring up towards the end of our session, but just wanted to put that out there that if you're not using Portal, or if you end today's session and go, yeah, we probably don't need Portal, but you still want to be able to capture communications in your FP system, that connect to email feature is a really good one. And we do have documents on that. Perhaps, Daniel, we could get you to just hover over help and then choose training from the top there. And then if you wouldn't mind just popping into the library at the bottom really has everything in the kitchen sink. If you can't find it in the library, I want to know, because the library is my baby. And if you can't find it there, then it means it doesn't exist and I need to create it. If you scroll down a little bit, thank you. In that notes and communications section, if you just scroll down a little bit more, there you go. There is connect your company, second from the bottom. Connect your company contact and job related emails into the notes area. So if anyone I sent that link over to you, Tiffany, directly, but that's how you can get to it. Or you can just go to help, and if you type into the search, connect or emails or something, that should bring it up as well. Or anyone who's like, Emma, I can't find the document, just drop me a line and I'll send it your way. So it's a little bit off topic, but just anyone who's not going to use Portal, who Daniel has failed to sell on it today somehow, or just think Portal is more than you need, you can still capture communications with your clients.
Careful, Emma.
What now? What did I do? I was saying it would be amazing if you hadn't. So if anyone thinks Portal is more than they may need, which could be, another thing I just want to bring up, we had a client ask a little bit about numbers of users. So Daniel, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Portal is $49 per month, and with that you get an unlimited number of people you can give Portal access to. That's correct?
That is correct. So only $49 per month, and it does give unlimited access to and for all of your clients. And of course, you can have a number of contacts with each client. So, potentially you might have thousands of Portal users, which would be, well,
It's
I
a
hope you're
good
all very
deal.
well staffed to tackle that many job requests and influx of
We
communication.
we have a few clients with probably at least that many Portal users, but that can be really great with that unlimited number, because if you've got, if Daniel had several contacts at Giorgio Armani, each of them could be making requests or making comments, and then it'll be really clear for Daniel and his staff in his FP system to see who it was who did it, when they did it, and have it all really specifically located back or mapped back to a person. Um, so Daniel, was that all that was a lot of information you gave us today, which is great. Was there anything else you needed to show us, or should we just sort of leave the floor open for questions now? And I will steal presenter skills back from you.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the core of the client portal there, guys, in terms of the core components. So what I will do is leave you in Emma's capable hands, and she will address any closing questions that you may have. So on that note, I would like to thank all of you for joining us today, and Emma, thank you very much for
Yes.
your help. What can I say? You've been wonderful as always,
Oh,
and
you.
thank you. Bye bye.
All right, thanks, Daniel. Well, I'm still here, everyone. Your questions are more than welcome. What I'll do is I'll leave the presentation open for probably another 10 minutes, and then just keep typing them into me, and I'll answer as we go. Also, before anyone runs away, I'm sure you all have lots to do, and we have kept you for the hour.